everyone, welcome back to another Blu-ray slash DVD update video. So yes, today is the 10th video, of course, in this series that I've been doing for a while, I must say. So here we are, of course. I usually do it every 2 months. I used to do it, I started off doing it every month. That didn't quite work out, and recently, of course, November last year I didn't really get any Blu-rays at all, so there was no point doing November, December for last year. So I thought this would be a perfect time to do this combined, maybe video, of course. So nearing the end of February now, of course, it'd be a perfect time to kind of talk about what I picked up November 2019 through February this year. There's a decent amount of films here. Again, not too many, but it's something that I always do. And there's one DVD here, but usually, as we know, it's usually Blu-rays that I pick up, slash 4K Blu-rays, of course. But yes, we'll start off with the DVD, and here it is, Police Squad. This is something that I've been looking forward to for quite a while. Especially since I watched the Naked Gun trilogy very, very recently. If you want to check out my reviews, of course, I've done the entire trilogy. They were, of course, reviewed, quite recently, and these were requests by the YouTuber Jared Griffiths. So of course, check his channel out. I've been mentioning these kind of these back and forth requests, of course, between me and Jared. This is just one of them, of course. This is, of course, the series that led to that trilogy. Leslie Nielsen, of course. He's in this as well, obviously. Police Squad. 6 episodes. So it's a very short kind of endeavour, and of course, I will be tucking into that very, very soon, over the course of this week, hopefully, and should have a review for that up fairly soon, within the next 2 weeks, really. But yes, really, really hyped for this. This is the original show that led to these films. If you want to hear what I think about the Naked Gun trilogy, check them out. Of course, I've done reviews, and the first one especially is just one of my favourite comedies of all time. I had a great time with that trilogy overall. And this is something that I really am very, very interested in. So yes, Police Squad, the only DVD, but one of the kind of biggest kind of things I've got recently, regardless. So yes, that is the DVD, and next up, of course, is the Blu-rays. So yes, we'll start off with a film that I reviewed fairly recently as well, and that is Slumdog Millionaire. This is just a stunning film in my opinion. Again, it is a bit divisive, this film. It got, of course, Best Picture and stuff. And yes, it's a film that some people didn't take to really. I must say, it's very, very different. For Danny Boyle, it's got some of his trademark, his style, and some of his kind of the atmosphere is definitely there. But it is. Having said that, it's very, very different. It's not for everyone, of course. It is very, very graphic as well. Kind of a thing that Danny Boyle, his films are very, very gritty most of the time. This is obviously very different, but it has got some of that kind of stuff in there. And yes, I think it's a stunning film. I'd recommend it to anyone, really. But again, not everyone will like this film. I understand that. But yeah, there are better Danny Boyle films, in my opinion, of course. And Trainspotting, to me, is just his finest, his absolute greatest film. But this, is one of his great ones. For me, I think it's a stunning film. And yes, if you want to see my thoughts, on this film more in depth, check out my review on that. But a great addition, for me to have. I want to eventually, acquire pretty much all of the Danny Boyles, into this collection. So yeah, just another Danny Boyle film to pick up. And yes, related actually to this film, this film Slumdog Millionaire kind of got me thinking about a film that was kind of similar at times to this one. I think maybe some inspiration was drawn from this film, and that is City of God, the Brazilian film. And yes, still sealed. I've seen this film before, about 3 years ago now, I believe, and yes, absolutely blew me away. It's a really, really great film, in my opinion, of course. And yes, finally on Blu-ray. I wanted to watch this very, very soon. I've still not got around to it. Kind of rewatching this, but I should be probably the next 2 months. I'll be checking this one out again, and should be great to see on Blu-ray. I originally watched it on Netflix. It must have been Netflix. Yes, and it's a great film. Again, very violent, very disturbing film, very gritty and kind of graphic, and very hard hitting. More so than Slumdog Millionaire. This is a real. It's a very disturbing piece of cinema. But again, it is energetic, just like Slumdog Millionaire in its style and its kind of tone as well. It's a very fascinating film. I think it's really something else actually, and yes, would recommend it, of course. And great to finally own this in my collection, of course. And yes, next up, 2 films here, Pound Pressburger films. These are the ones that I wanted to see. As soon as really, and I will be checking out the rest of their films. Pound Pressburger, very acclaimed, British directors, of course, filmmakers. They mainly worked as a team together, making very big films. They also kind of separated at times, but the bulk there, most of our films, them together, this team, Pound Pressburger. Scorsese, of course, has mentioned these two, among others, of course, citing their work. It's just wonderful films, and I have to agree, based on the one that I have seen so far, and that is A Matter of Life and Death. This film, well, it's even my second or third, favourite first watch of this year. It's that good. I absolutely loved this film. I think, it's just, it's one of the most creative films. It's a fantastical experience. What it's kind of doing. With this portrayal of heaven, and everything, it's absolutely beautiful. This film, I'd have to say, it's one of the most wonderful, and unique, and just interesting films that I've seen ever. And yes, something else. This, I think, definitely a masterpiece. I have to say that now, and hopefully I can review this film. It'd have to be another watch, because it kind of threw me off, because of how different it was, and you just how abstract at times. It's a very interesting film, this, and I was compelled from the get-go. It's just a beautiful piece of cinema, and definitely I would have to rewatch this hopefully soon, and then I can give this a review if anyone's interested in that. But yes, A Matter of Life and Death. Blu-ray is stunning, of course, as well. Just a stunning film. Honestly, recommend this to anyone, especially if you like these romance films. It's very different, but it's just a stunning film, absolutely beautiful. And of course, this one I haven't seen yet, it's still sealed, another Pound Pressburger film. And yes, The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. This is another one of their big films. You've got many other films they made. Of course, The Red Shoes being one of them. That are very acclaimed. But this one and A Matter of Life and Death are often cited as their kind of some of the best work they've done. And yes, this is an epic film. I believe, and yes, it should be. I certainly look forward to this. Based on, of course, the other film that I've seen from them. It should be great to see, and hopefully I can watch this in the next kind of 2 months, 2 or 3 months again, kind of thing. I really look forward to this one, and yes, who knows if it can top A Matter of Life and Death, but nevertheless, I look forward to this massively. I'm so hyped for this, and yes, just again, great to own another Blu-ray from these guys, knowing, of course, how much I love A Matter of Life and Death. So yes, The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. Next up is a group of films, a massive group of films, that I've kind of been going through, and from the same filmmaker. He's an individual, who, if you say his name, you kind of, it kind of brings this to mind, kind of thing, the energy, the excitement. Really, I think for a lot of film buffs, it's clear. He's made cult films, he's made big films in the horror genre, in the sci-fi genre, and elsewhere as well. His films are a lot of kind of, some of them are Western inspired, just like the next one here I'm about to say. But yes, this guy, he's certainly creative. He's certainly a genius in my opinion. His 80s work, which kind of has been so great to see. Especially January, that I kind of watched a few of these / rewatching. And yes, just absolutely amazing. The filmmaker is John Carpenter, and the film we start off with is Escape from New York, Blu-ray, and yes, indeed. Of course, The Fall Guy reviewed a couple of months ago for Halloween and stuff, but I really wanted to get into the meat of his work. Rewatch, of course, this included, and watch for the first time some of his films, and I aim to do the rest of them very soon. Not sure if I'll review them yet, but it's just been great to sit back and watch, especially January. Not a great month, January, but these films really just kind of made the month a little bit more special, and yes, just so delightful to see these films. And yes, Escape from New York is the one that I saw. I was about 12 or 11. It's a film that clearly stuck with me. I really had some great times watching this film, and just these things that stick with you. The character Snake Plissken, just one of the best in cinema really for me. And this film is so special. I think the first half is absolutely masterful. This is sci-fi, an action, adventure, mystery, thriller that is such a masterful degree. And the second half, I think, peters out. It's not quite the same sort of thing. For me, it's not as good. I think it definitely goes in a different direction. But throughout it's entertaining, no doubt. And I think this character is one of the best in film. And what this film was doing, especially in the first half, was absolutely mind blowing. Actually, and it was kind of wowing me all over again. And I think this is a great film. Just a great film overall, of course. I love this film, and certainly recommend it. And Kurt Russell, of course, he's an absolute legend. And John Carpenter. After these films, rewatching and watching for the first time, as well. Recently, he's grown on my list of directors, favorite directors. That's for sure. He's a genius in my eyes, and this is one of his many great films. Of course, and Christine actually is a film that I don't have here to show, but that kind of sparked another kind of blow up of this this director kind of watching these films in quick succession. I think Christine. I watched it elsewhere. I don't have the Blu-ray to show. I will be getting it, and I think that film, I saw that as well a few years ago, and that one just that is currently now my second, possibly even my favourite John Carpenter film. It's just an absolute masterpiece in my eyes. If anyone else out there has seen that film, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But I don't know if that's a show, but I do have another film here from his 80s work, which is the greatest decade, in my opinion, from him. But here we have Prince of Darkness, Donald Pleasence, of course, and this is an interesting film. I have mixed feelings on this. It's definitely the only one really that I saw recently over these films here. That I was actually a bit let down by. I knew Escape from LA going in. I watched that again as well recently. I knew I wouldn't like that too much, probably because I saw that. Half of that, a few years ago, many years ago, and I had to turn it off, kind of thing. But this film here, is the one that I did have high hopes for, but slightly let down, just personally. But yeah, certainly a film that I'd recommend. It's an average film in my opinion, but very interesting, very it's well shot, and it's got a mystery about it and a unique feeling for sure. But yes, Prince of Darkness. And another John Carpenter film here. This film is definitely absolutely pitched as a cult film. It's one that many would say is definitely an underrated film. It's one that I've heard of for many years. I've been aware of it. Not just through this filmmaker, but of course Roddy Piper. Is in this film, and the film is They Live. Now this really surprised me. Again, a cult film, absolutely through and through. Certainly, it's clearly a cult film, in every regard. But I think this was a very surprising film. I think it's absolutely amazing. It could be, my third or fourth favorite John Carpenter film. It's just absolutely amazing. Kind of the final act. Slash the very last 10 minutes, really let me down a bit. I certainly think it should have, I would like to to end a different way. You know, it's certainly yeah, it has a kind of very gradual opening. You know, very interesting film. But really, everything else is absolutely masterful. You know, this is, you know, certainly the middle of the film. You know, it's absolutely, in my opinion, masterful sci-fi, comedy, mystery, thriller, horror. You know, it's just genius ideas that just really, you know, it takes a surreal turn. You know, you can't quite prepare yourself really for this experience. You know, kind of based on the first act, but it's absolutely amazing. This film, it's one of my favourites. You know, it has some flaws for me, mainly in that final act. But wow, what a film! So enjoyable. The fist fight in this film that I was aware of, you know, but without context, of course. You know, is one of the most enjoyable moments in cinema. Really, really is. It's just absolute joy to watch this one, and such a creative, exciting film. They Live, absolutely amazing. Highly recommend this. You know, I think a lot of people love this one if they actually you know, watched it. So yes, great to own this on Blu-ray. So yes, the final John Carpenter film that I picked up, you know, for this collection, of course, is a very famous cult film again. Again, Kurt Russell, you know, in this one. And I was really looking forward to this. Again, took me by surprise actually, and that is Big Trouble in Little China. So yes, this film is an Arrow release, and it's of course I flipped the kind of the artwork here. I swapped the inside, you know, kind of I swapped it about, you know, because it just looks absolutely amazing. Of course on that, you know, on the front now, just one of the best posters really of all time actually. And yes, this film, you know, is a really, you know, again at times it's panned. This one, it's got a kind of divisive, you know, reception. But this film was an absolute joy to watch. I think, you know, this is the one that, you know, is very close to They Live. You know, I'm not sure really what I prefer out of this and They Live for my kind of, you know, third, fourth favourite John Carpenter film, but it's certainly one of his best. This is just all out, you know, kind of insane, campy, amazing cinema. This is just absolutely amazing, stunning cinema here. It just pleases me in pretty much every way. You know, a joy to watch. You know, something that is full of ideas. You know, it's full of you know, just great feelings. You know, it's got these mental scenes. You know, I'd seen the kind of one of the deaths in this. You know, it's very famous. You know, kind of most insane moments in cinema. But yes, this film is really out there. But I think it's absolutely amazing. One of my favourite films again of all time. You know, just I love this film so much. If you like martial arts films, you know, and if you like you kind of, you know, campy kind of films like these, I think check this one out. You know, it's so well made. You know, at least in my opinion, and it's got some of the best, you know, just moments from Kurt Russell in a film, and a very different character that he plays in this. But seriously, check that one out. And yes, two more left. Here we are with Mary Poppins. You know, the kind of Blu-ray here, the 50th anniversary edition, and yes, you know, I've still sealed this, of course. It's not been opened. This is a film, of course, very recently. You know, I've watched The Sound of Music again, and it's one of my 30 favourite films of all time. So yes, I wanted to check this one out again. I'd seen this quite a few times when I was younger, and again, just never got around to rewatching this and actually acquiring this for my collection for many years. So simply, it was waiting to happen. I will watch this within the next couple of months, and should have a review up for that. You know, shortly after. I loved this when I watched it as a kid, and I can't wait to see you know, this again and experience this you know, wonderful film again. So yes, Blu-ray, Mary Poppins, and finally, you know, films that I've reviewed already on this channel. That is the Buster Keaton free-film set. This, of course, you know, Sherlock Jr., The General, and Steamboat Bill Jr. You know, all these three films I love. I think they're great. You know, my favourite is Sherlock Jr., and if you want to check out my reviews, you know, for them, they're on the channel. So yeah, I don't really need to say much more about that. Buster Keaton, you know, one of the masters really. You know, he was so good. You know, his kind of comedy, his his expressions, it's just absolutely amazing. Certainly recommend this, Masters of Cinema, and yeah, it's just, especially Sherlock Jr. Just it was such a great film, just a magical experience, such a great one to watch. Again, watch these in January. So yes, just a great experience. This is a great addition to my collection, and I certainly recommend it. And there we have it. That's sort of the films that I picked up. Again, not too many, but there we are. We have the kind of the basic thoughts on these films, and not in depth too much, but again, I can review these if you want. Some of them I do plan on reviewing. Some of them I don't really plan on talking about too much more. Maybe at least in the foreseeable future. But we could get around to them. If you want to see that, certainly let me know in the comments. And yes, that is the update, the 10th update on this channel for this collection. So yes, tell me your thoughts on these films. What do you think of them? Have you seen all these films? Just let me know in the comments, of course, if you please. Just let me know what you think of these films, and I will be doing the next update video. Will kind of be it should be every 2 months now, I hope. But yes, this was a combined video here, and yes, it was great again to talk about these films, and yes, had a great time with some of these, and I can't wait to check them out. The ones I haven't yet seen or rewatched, of course. So as always, thanks for watching.